All right. Hey, what's going on, nerds around the world? And welcome to this is the 110th episode of the Nerds United Small Podcast. And I am CM Miller, your host for tonight. And this particular topic we'll be covering in our episode. We'll be discussing the recently released Spider-Man Homecoming. This is the 16th film in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and is the first one featuring, the second appearance featuring our beloved friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, as played by Tom Holland. And to help me out with that, I got a panel, which you know these guys before. Especially introducing my good friend Paul English. What's going on, Paulie?
What's going on, fellow nerds? This is a movie I have waited 13 long years for. I have waited 13 years for a good Spider-Man movie, and, well, I guess you'll find out if it delivered for me.
Okay, all right. It's just seems to be really hesitant about it. But still, oh no, we're anxious to hear what you thought about the movie. We're all anxious to hear our thoughts. Also, back with us from Geek Salad is Mike Buick. Mike, what's going on?
Yeah, not much. Love this movie. Well, sorry, spoiler. But yeah, hey, great to be back and great to talk to you all about this great movie. Again, spoiler, sorry.
Oh my goodness. Enough with the spoilers. I mean, come on. It's going to be full with spoilers anyway. And also, we have with us is Colton Hunt. Colton, what's going on, man? And Spider-Man has to be your favorite. You had to be a huge Spider-Man addict, weren't you, Colton?
Hey, everyone. Yeah, I am a pretty big Spider-Man fan. He was probably the first hero that I was ever obsessed with back in the 90s when Spider-Man the Animated Series premiered. And through all the reboots, emo dancing sequences, constant recasts and whatnot, I'm still on Spider-Man's side and what have you. I give myself a headache trying to, objectively think about this film, but, you'll find out what I thought about it soon enough.
All right. Okay, also, we back from us from after a long absence, we have Avi. Avi, what's going on? What's going on, my man?
Nothing much. I finished the 24-hour movie marathon. And then slept. I'm not good at intros, so yeah.
Okay, all right. Well,
hi.
Since you have back after a long absence, oh my goodness. Now, like I said, the topic of our show tonight is Spider-Man: Homecoming. Like I said, this is the 16th film in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and this in a second MCU appearance of our friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. It was released over the weekend, and it just is like. This is my thoughts on. I just love this movie. To me, it's not the best Spider-Man. It is the second best Spider-Man movie after Spider-Man 2. This really. It's just like all the elements just came together and it just delivered. It just presents, I think, the best portrayal of the character we had thus far. I love Tobey Maguire's portrayal, but Tom Holland we see him. He is Spider-Man, the nerdy awkwardness, the cockiness, not necessarily the nerdy awkwardness of Peter Parker, the cockiness and the whatever wisecracking snarkiness of Spider-Man. He just nails both aspects of the character. He unlike Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield, he looks like someone who you can see at your local high school. He actually looks like someone who's high school age, and he's backed up by great supporting players. Just of course, you got Robert Downey Jr., who's awesome as always as Tony Stark, Marissa Tomei, Donald Glover, Zendaya, and also Michael Keaton as the Vulture, who's probably like the rare few who can actually deliver a great performance as an MCU villain. Not only he gave a great performance, the Vulture was a great villain. You got great action, special effects, and so forth, and so on. It tends to run on a little over long, but all in all, this is a movie this is hugely delightful. It's just, it has like that innocence and that freshness, that. Did you don't see a lot in MCU movies? Not saying all MCU movies are bad, but this one has a delight about it that you just can't help. It just delivers on all fronts. It doesn't get bogged down on franchise building like most others. It's just a fun standalone movie, fun co-venture, which is just highly enjoyable. It's just, I mean, I do like you said. I mean, it's not as good as Spider-Man 2, but it's definitely better than the first Spider-Man by Sam Raimi. I can see it. It's just, I can test that. You know, it's just so wonderfully done. All right, Paul, why don't you give us your thoughts on Spider-Man: Homecoming?
You ain't rushing on me, haven't you? All right. So like I said, I've been waiting 13 years for a good Spider-Man movie. I preached about it time and time again. And then starting in the second half of Spider-Man 3, it all fell apart.
Mm-hmm.
So I was, as you might guess, I was nervous as hell about this movie, even though I loved Tom Holland in Civil War. Could he carry this movie by himself on his young shoulders? Could this movie deliver? And the short answer is, yes, it did. It was a very good movie. Tom Holland was terrific. It was enjoyable. It was fun. The story was engaging. It was entertaining, action-packed, everything you come to expect from a good Marvel movie.
I'm sensing a butt here.
Being said, I did notice a lot of potential for much more in this movie that I felt, unfortunately, was wasted. And that had that potential truly been explored, this movie could have risen to be not just the best Spider-Man movie, but also one of the best comic book movies, and more than that, one of the best movies ever made. It had that much potential, and it's kind of sin that it was wasted a little bit. Still,
What do you think?
I felt it could have been a lot better than what it was.
Are you going to explain yourself? I kind of want to know what you mean.
Probably.
We will get into the explanation as the show progresses. I will get into them.
Okay, it's very interesting to know for your opinion. I mean, yeah, even he had his, minor issues with it, And also joining us from the great land of the north is Max Vincent. Max, if you're like all there with us, say hello to the great folks out. Say hello to the folks out there.
Hi, hello.
All right.
Hey,
All right. Oh, sound a little like Tom Holland there.
Yeah.
It's great of you to join us, Max. And so, Paul, your opinion? It would be interesting take on it, but I'll like I said, we'll find out more as we go on. Really anxious to learn about it, though. All right, Mike, why don't you give us your thoughts on the movie?
All right. My thoughts are this is my favorite Spider-Man film of all time.
Mm-hmm.
I think Spider-Man 2 is a better overall movie, but I think Spider-Man Homecoming is a better Spider-Man film. I think it much better utilize the character of Spider-Man. I think Tom Holland did a marvelous job as both Peter Parker and Spider-Man. I like how it balanced between the two aspects of his character. I like how it really built up the conflict between, do I want to be a hero or do I want to be a kid? Do I want to have fun with my friends or do I want to, capture the bad guys?
Mm-hmm.
And that balance was really effectively done. Michael Keaton is my third favorite MCU villain of all. Just behind Loki and Zemo. I love this movie. I thought it was fantastic. I saw no wasted potential. I saw it utilized all of its potential to the best that it could. I mean, there are a couple of minor nitpicks, but overall, great movie. I love this one. I can't wait to talk more about it.
All right, it was great, Mike. Great. See, you enjoyed it so much. You're not the only one, of course. All right, Colton, what are your thoughts on this? What did you think about this movie?
This is actually my third favorite of the six Spider-Man films, with Spider-Man 2 being the first. I mean, it's probably my favorite comic book movie ever. And then beneath that is Spider-Man 1, and that movie still has a special place in my heart. But I did enjoy what Homecoming did, like it avoided some of the problems that we saw in the Amazing Spider-Man films and in the Raimi films also. Like they avoided some of the melodrama and whatnot. Like Peter has it rough, but he's not completely miserable, so to speak. And And I like how they had some fun with certain things than with certain aspects of Spider-Man's life, that we hadn't seen in the other movies. Like for once, the first time we actually get to see, Peter running out of webbing or like not being able to. Well, he kind of does in Spider-Man 2, but that's like a power thing. And it's whatever, organic webbing. But anyway, it was fun seeing, Peter running out of webbing a couple of times, or having to just change his cartridges. I liked seeing that, and I also enjoyed how he had to, for swinging a suburb, and it wasn't like ideal for him because, there wasn't a lot for him to actually shoot his bums off of. Probably my favorite moment was when he was swinging through running through several backyards trying to catch up with the bad guys, and he swings off a tree and accidentally knocks down someone's treehouse by mistake. And I also liked how probably the first time since Spider-Man 3 we had a villain that wasn't driven mad. I mean, seriously, almost all of Peter's bad guys are driven nuts or something like that. Like the Green Goblin, the Goblin Foreman drove him insane. Dr. Octopus was being controlled by his tentacles. The Venom suit augmented Eddie's already nasty personality. We all know what happened with Electro in Spider-Man 2, the Amazing Spider-Man 2. The Lizard was driven kind of insane. I mean, so yeah, it was kind of nice how they really toned back on all the insanity and everything. Just gave us a guy with a villain with some straight motivations. He wants to get his family to be secure and all that jazz. And I really liked how, Michael Keaton's performance. It was pretty. It was like I felt like he was probably maybe it was a very commanding performance, and I think like what a lot of people were saying, he's a very good bad guy in the MCU because compared to the others, he's not just a good performance, but he has good material to back it up, I guess you could say. Like some of the villains I've liked in the past, that was less because of the writing and more that the villains, more that the actors just did a good job working with what they had, minus Malekith, but that's from Thor 2, but that's another story. But I felt like there was more. They did a good job with Vulture. But I will say that I guess I maybe kind of agree with Paul that they could have gone in some other directions, perhaps. I'll get into that more later. And I thought the pacing wasn't quite ideal at times, though by the same token, I felt like it all came together towards the end. I definitely didn't walk out this movie feeling like they wasted a good story or anything like that overall. I'm satisfied. I'm satisfied. I mean, I was hoping this would be, amazing or spectacular even. But it's still good, though. I'm teetering between a 7.5 and an 8 at the moment. So now that my headache of trying to be objective with this movie is gone. I also liked, some of Tom Holland also. I liked how he was not how he was able to make Peter's age not seem like an informed attribute. Like he really bought that he was young. And I also liked how the villains in this movie, that for once, they were actually able to pull off having multiple villains in a superhero film for, like they all knew, since they all knew each other right from the get-go, they didn't have to waste time trying to build up all their backstories and everything. But I'm rambling, so I'll get back to that more later.
All right. Interesting thoughts. Cool. Interesting thoughts. All right, Max, what is your thoughts? What did you think overall of Spider-Man Homecoming?
Well, I thought that no movie could be better than The Amazing Spider-Man 2.
You are such a joker.
And
because I could see he's not trolling because he has a different opinion. He's trolling because
is better than any of the other Spider-Man films that came out before that. Even better than Spider-Man 2. Yes, I do think that Spider-Man 2 is a very good movie, but I do think that it's overpraised and overrated. I know. What made Spider-Man 2 was that I was attached more to Peter Parker, and he had more humanity in him because he was trying to balance the man with the suit. And at one point, I'm not going to delve into spoiler territory at the moment, but the fairy sequence really shows that emotion that he's going through in the movie. Michael Keaton is amazing as the Vulture, but I do think that Ego, the Living Planet, is the best Marvel villain we've had so far. But that scene in the car, that was amazing, though. That was really, really amazing. And what else? The action scenes are amazing. The humor is on point. Tony Stark isn't in this movie a lot, which is good because I thought that this movie was going to be Iron Man 4, but it isn't Iron Man 4. Iron Man doesn't really do a lot of Iron Man things in it. He's just there. But it's great. It's great to see Robert Downey Jr. and Tony Stark. It's great to see Jon Favreau back as Happy Hogan, and surprisingly, Zendaya was very good in the movie. There you go. My favorite movie of the year so far. Spider-Man.
Okay, nice. This is good. This is good false flash. Some good false. Very good. All right. I mean, what did you think of Spider-Man: Homecoming overall?
Let me say first, it's just my opinion. I thought I went in, I was seeing that it was getting praised, but I was thinking, okay, it might be a movie that might get overhyped. I went in, and I found it passable. I found it fine. There's no real negatives for me, but the problem is there's no real positives for me either. And I know people might hate hearing this word. I found it safe, and I can't rate it higher because I just found it safe. And Paul, about what you were saying about you wish the story was taken in different directions. I mean, they could be saving stuff for later or down the line. But yeah, I found it passable. I thought Keaton was a good villain. A lot of the other things in there, I just found fine. I thought the action was shot kind of messy. Holland, I'm still unsure about Holland as Spider-Man. I think the jokes he had, I didn't really find it super funny. I know it was trying to be. I think he's fine as Spider-Man. I don't really have a big opinion about like he's the greatest Spider-Man, but I found the movie passable, and I don't know. I still liked it, although I know people might be like, "Oh, how didn't you love it?" But it was fine. It was passable. There are still, I don't know. I just see a lot of people saying this is the best Spider-Man movie, and then like I was watching a review saying it's a great movie, but then they listed more negatives than positives, and I feel like people aren't being as honest. But I don't know. I found it passable.
Marvin, you think everything's overhyped?
I don't think everything's overhyped. I think
Chris, shut up before I mute you.
I don't even feel like talking.
Just Colton.
My fingers.
Just
I like the movie, and I know I'm going to get hate for not loving it.
Get used to this, Avi. This has become sort of like a punishment gag in our group.
Yeah, I know.
Everyone muting each other.
Well, we're not going to punish you, Avi. I mean, you haven't been around for it to.
Just Colton. We were talking to you. Yeah, you can. Okay. Let's click on. Let's keep focused here. Let's keep focused. All right. Let's discuss some positives about the movie. Well, let's go into some negatives first. Let's talk about is there anything we didn't like about the movie? I mean, it kind of runs on. It's a little overwhelming. Perhaps they could have at least trimmed about 10, 15 minutes. Maybe the flow would have been kind of smoother and it felt a little unfocused sometimes. I mean, I felt there were I know she's getting. I believe she's getting some praise for this character. I wasn't really that taken away with Zendaya's performance. I say she's an okay character, but I say she didn't really contribute a whole lot to the overall narrative.
I think that was the point.
Huh?
I don't think she was supposed to.
Yeah, she's supposed to be just a character. She's a supporting character.
Passable. I think it's passable best. I felt the Liz Allen character didn't really have enough dimension to her. There were some good points with her, in her interactions with Peter, but there really wasn't a lot they could have done with the character. There's a few side characters that made me go, I don't see how they're contributing to the whole story. And whatnot. I mean, and the humor tends to go a little overboard at times. That was my issue with Iron Man 3. The humor was just like they got a little too broad, a little too silly. I mean, like I said, the humor works in Spider-Man: Homecoming, but perhaps they would have toned it down. It might have. It might have gone. It might have done. They didn't need to. Overall, I felt the humor kind of called attention to itself sometimes. I mean, I felt it's like It's just like, oh, it's just like they're saying, oh, we're telling a joke or something like that. It's like, yeah, this is yeah. We realize you're trying to bring some levity, but you know, it kind of overdoes it. That was kind of my problem with it. You know, I mean, those are my general nitpicks I had with it. I mean, it wasn't really not negatives, but those were my biggest biggest issues with it overall. All right, but what were your negatives on the movie? What did you think about it?
Well, I imagine we're gonna save the whole Zendaya twist for the very end, so I'll wait for that.
Mm-hmm.
My other negatives regarding this film, I felt that Marissa Tomei was severely underused, just not used right as Aunt May. When you think about it, we have never had an Aunt May this young before. I mean, Marissa is only 52 years old, and she's still young enough to kind of have an active life. I mean, what does she do? Does she have a job? Does she have friends? What does she do when she's not trying to take care of Peter Parker? I just felt she was.
She's nursing
for Ned to make Google eyes out of. Wow, Peter, your aunt is so hot. Like, was Michael Bay directing those fucking scenes? Because that's something he would do.
To be fair, though, she was hot.
Yeah, she was hot.
I'm just saying that's all.
I would have given her rice pudding myself. Come mess on the house.
Yeah.
But that's all there is to it. That's what it is.
I mean, they could have done a lot more with her. I mean, I want to know more about her. Does she have it? How is she making a living?
Would you rather see
and then
20-minute sequence of Aunt May nursing like in The Amazing Spider-Man 2?
No, but I'd rather know, is she does she hang out with friends? Is she mountain biking or something? What does she do?
Paul, let me get this straight. You want an Aunt May movie, right? That's what I'm getting.
No.
That's what I'm getting.
What? No, he wants characters to be fleshed out. I don't even get this.
What I'm saying is I would have liked a little bit more screen time with Aunt May. Maybe learn a little bit about what she does, some activities she participates, any friends she talks to. In other words, a character, not a living sex doll like Megan Fox and every other girl in a fucking Transformers movie.
You haven't seen the last
Transformers movie, for that matter. Let me stop.
The Last Night is the worst one.
That's another story, Max.
Yeah. That was another story.
Continuing with Homecoming. Another major problem I had with this is I don't think that they portrayed well enough of Peter's decisions to always choose being Spider-Man over being Peter Parker. One thing I loved so much about the Sam Raimi films, especially the first two, was how well
I made the movie, right?
The struggle that Peter is going through, trying to balance being a regular person and being a superhero. They did that so well, and you saw the conflict in Peter's eye, and you saw the pain he caused all the people he cared about when he made his decision. I don't think they did that as well in this movie. Tom Holland, I love the guy, but for me, he just made those decisions to be Spider-Man just way too easy. You didn't really see him thinking and struggling with it, and you didn't see the pain he caused his friends when he made those decisions. I would have wanted to see a little bit more of that because that's what makes Spider-Man such an intriguing character. I know he's youthful and oh, I got to do this, but I don't know. They just didn't utilize right. Something about in this one particular scene where he says to Ned, "Man, I might be moving upstate. I'm beyond this school." That doesn't sound like something Peter Parker would say. He's not that kind of guy.
I think that was kind of the point, though.
No, I that part I didn't like, and I hope we see a little bit more of that conflict in the next film, because that's what makes Peter to me such an interesting character.
All right. Those
are my big negatives.
All right,
obviously we get the Zendaya thing at the end. I don't want to say anything now.
Yeah, there's some interesting thoughts. All right, Mike. What about you? What were did you have any problems with the movie? What were some things that stood out to you where they could have done better? Overall.
I mean, really, I don't really have a whole lot of issues with the movie. My biggest issue is that I don't think that John Watts is the best action director.
Yeah.
The action scenes I thought were
What?
kind of hard to
Just
follow at
shaky.
moments. Yeah, he utilized shaky cams a little bit too much, and he did a lot of quick edits. Like particularly the scene on the back of the plane where Spider-Man's fighting the Vulture towards the end. That scene, really, honestly, I saw the movie again today, and seeing that second time did help, but it was still hard to follow at times. Other than the action sequences, though, I thought John Watts did a great job. I think he should have done something like what the Russo brothers did with the airport scene and hire out the second unit director from John Wick. But yeah, I mean, other than some of the action scenes being kind of hard to follow, I thought the movie was very good. I had no issues with Zendaya's character. I liked her character a lot, to be honest. And the twist I thought was a fun little Easter egg, little wink. It does not mean anything. Her name is Michelle Jones.
Yes.
And yeah, see, there's the reason Paul wanted to see the movie. He wanted to see Aunt May the movie.
The hot Aunt May.
Okay. Paul!
I'm going to
Paul.
Honestly,
this May's picture
Paul,
now.
This was not Aunt May the movie. This is Spider-Man the movie.
I agree with Paul here. There could have been.
It's a two-hour movie. You can only tell so much story. This was the time to really kind of introduce us to Spider-Man and his conflicts and his friends. And obviously, given the ending of this movie, the second movie is going to have more Aunt May. So don't worry, your Aunt May movie is coming.
I am this close to deleting your ass right now that all I'm asking for is 5 minutes of additional screen time. Maybe get a shot of her calling Peter.
Oh, see, Aunt May, Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. You know who was going to be first in line to see the movie?
Thank you, Colton.
Okay, Mike, I mean, keep going before he unmutes himself.
Screw you, Colton.
Right.
No, that was it. We're just talking negatives, and my only negative was the action scenes. I thought some of them were a little. They could have done better with the camera work, but yeah. Other than that, I'm good.
All right, Max. What's it with this showing all the Aunt Mays? Oh my goodness, I've seen them already. Oh my goodness. All right, Colton. What about you? Do you have any problems in this movie or any negatives?
Like I said, I think the pacing wasn't quite ideal at times. Mostly in the first act, things were a tad slow. As they had to build everything. They kind of took their time building things up, so to speak. But like I said, once the plot gets rolling, like once Peter gets to DC and everything, things start to pick up a little. Well, the DC scene had some minor pacing issues also, but it paid off at the same time. And I will admit that the action, some of the action was hard to follow. Some of it was actually pretty good. It just it depended, I guess you could say, on like the ferry boat had some iffy action, but then like the scene of Peter trying to keep it from falling apart was actually pretty good. And I actually liked the fight on the airplane, but that's another. I'll save that for later. See what else. I guess. One other issue I had, this is a nitpick, but what the hell is up with Flash calling Peter Penis Parker? I mean,
I don't know. That's Marvel's attempt at humor.
I mean,
you're not saying penis, you say
it's
Parker.
better than Michael Bay.
It's the same reason when I was growing up in elementary school, people would walk around me going, Michael, motorcycle.
Yeah, but it's not even. It doesn't even rhyme with Peter or anything. I mean, I would have called him Putrid Parker or something like that, I guess.
It's just a way to tease, and it's an easy mark.
I guess it's just like when I hear the word penis spoken in a movie, I've always hated it. That's like a pet peeve of mine. Okay,
they did it in Guardians 2 also. I mean, I don't know.
Colton. Penis.
I also found some of the jokes weren't quite as well used, especially. I guess I get a kick out of this. when the Ned Lee's character is caught by one of the teachers, it's like, what are you looking at? I was looking at porn.
Well, that was a good one.
I'm looking.
I don't
If I had any other issue in the movie, I guess I would say that Zendaya, the way she was used, I thought that they could. I don't know if they kind of. Let me put it this way: a twist that they did at the end of the movie that worked. I feel like it might have actually been maybe better if they did it using Zendaya's character, so to speak. Because at the moment, right now, she's more of a trial. She feels like more of a trial run for somebody that could have worked at more like a trial run, so to speak. Okay, Max, thank you for that picture of Flash Thompson.
So wait. What I'm getting is you want Ned to have been MJ, right?
What? No,
You wanted Ned to be MJ.
that's not what I'm
getting.
talking about. We'll get to that later. I forgot what I was talking about. And like I said, Zendaya's character, Michelle, she felt like a trial run more like a trial run than a character, but she kind of worked at the same time. It's another one of those things that I mixed on where it sort of works one minute, one second it works, one second it doesn't, then it works again. It's just what just happened? Oh, okay, he's back. But yeah, those are my main issues. I feel like the movie otherwise, more or less delivered, but well, we're still on the negative, so I'll in my heart here.
Okay, that's all you had to bring to the table. I mean, so you had to share. Oh, okay.
Should I say?
All right, Max. What are your negatives? I mean, what was that about this movie that you didn't like?
Okay. My negatives are nothing. I didn't like anything. I love the whole movie.
Really?
Yes, I know. I love the pacing. I thought it was right. It was great to see actually, like, the first 40 minutes of the movie was Peter Parker in school. Mm-hmm. We've never really explored that in the other movies. This is really kind of, you can actually see more the Peter Parker side. And then when he becomes Spider-Man, he has more depth, more humanity. So yeah, I liked the whole movie. I thought I wasn't gonna like the character of Liz Allen, or because some female characters in Spider-Man have a tendency to make dumb decisions. For example, Gwen Stacy in The Amazing Spider-Man 2. That was so. I really still can't believe that.
Gwen. Oh my!
It's really the Amazing Spider-Man 2 thing. The last 30 minutes.
You're a horrible actor.
Female character decisions in the movie, but it wasn't that bad. There's a twist not involving Zendaya's character. She's not Mary Jane Watson. She's Michelle Jones.
It's like a whole
You're assuming that Max.
I thought it was a nice little wink, but there's a nice twist in the middle. Can we spoil it or not?
Oh, yeah, spoilers.
Oh, we're not on that part yet.
The twist that Adrian Toomes is Liz's father. I wasn't expecting that at all. I was like, what? God. But yeah, I mean, it was a great movie, great action. The pacing didn't bother me. Nothing bothered me in this movie. Mm-hmm. Probably the only thing that would bother me would probably be Flash Thompson. But the thing is, if you're Flash Thompson, you really want him to get what he deserves. That means that the actor played a good portrayal of Flash Thompson. So there you go. There's that. Yeah, nothing. It's my favorite movie of the year. So there you go.
Okay,
Flash, I need your car.
Make sure you know he tolls that car. Oh my lord. Thank you, Pat. Oh my goodness. All right. I mean, what are some of your negatives? I mean, what is it about this movie that you didn't like?
Well, I want to get to Paul's point first. I agree with him. Aunt May could have been more fleshed out. You don't understand. She doesn't need to be the center of the movie, but she could have more character. You could develop more than your two leads.
Thank you.
Thank you.
First of all.
But the more I'm thinking about it, I don't think any characters are really developed other than Spidey and Keaton, and you're going to be like, oh, but it's their movie. But other characters could be more developed. Liz Allen is meant to pretty much... Here, the fact that Aunt May maybe got less screen time than the comic relief, and the comic relief wasn't really that funny. Liz Allen is meant. The comic relief isn't. Oh, it's just dumb. Because his whole dialogue is, "Oh, that's awesome. Oh, that's cool. Oh, I'm doing this cool thing. Awesome."
Because his friend is Spider-Man.
No, people don't just talk saying awesome all day long. It's like
I say awesome all the time.
But he didn't have other character other than he's going to be the person that's going to say the funny line or say awesome or say another funny line. It's like I don't know. And Liz Allen was pretty much meant to be the person Peter pretty much wants to be his girlfriend. I don't think she really had much more character. Iron Man probably had the third most screen time in the movie. It's a fine
Rich boy.
the action's messy. That I mentioned that before. I'm still debating on Holland. On the one hand, he's a kid, so he they actually get to play him. On the other hand, I don't buy that he knows all this sciencey stuff because he literally carries himself as a teenager that happens to be and I know science. So
You're a dickhead.
he's fine as Peter Parker. I don't know about as Spider-Man if he's fine. But I mean, he wasn't bad. He was just whatever. A lot of the movie is there's not so much just terrible stuff, and I'm seeing a lot of reviews that are saying there's no real negatives, but I want kind of more than just no real negatives, if that makes sense. Yeah, it was passable, and those are my really only negatives. The action, some of the characters could have been more fleshed out, not giving them their own movie, just fleshing them out, and yeah.
Thank you.
So, Abby, do you have anything positive about the movie, or do you not like it?
Oh my god,
Not
I
the
listed a
positives
few
yet.
negatives. That must mean aren't we just? Yeah, we're just listing negatives. God.
Well, you just listed off pretty much everything about the movie.
I listed off things.
Let the man talk, Mike.
I
Let the
listed
boy
off
talk.
things I didn't like because that's what we were listing right now. I'm sorry I didn't list positives in the negatives.
Yeah.
Ignore him, Mike. Ignore him, Avi. Just ignore him.
Mr.
Guys,
Codner.
can we settle down, please? Can we just? Yeah, it's just do you have anything to go on, Ivy, or is that all you have to say about this whole?
I mean, that was my thing. Those were my negatives. There were things I liked, but I'll get to them later.
Okie dokie. All right. Yes. Speaking of positives, moving on to the positives. The positives are good. The positive aspects of this movie. Well, John Watts is a great action director. I mean, he seems to do a solid job of bringing some slick and very tense. I mean, very intense action sequences. You know, I mean, he really brings the audience especially in the spectacle part. Not great action sequences, but solidly executed overall. Yeah, I'm like Mike. The action was kind of hard to follow at times. Kind of a little incoherent, but it was. But the action sequences were well done for the most part. I mean, the humor, the humor in this movie is probably. I mean, it's probably the most. This movie has probably the best use of humor of any movie in the MCU. The MCU. Just some really, like I said, a little, kind of a little overdone. Unlike a little overdone, unlike Iron Man 3. But the humor was solid. To say, when the more is solid, it delivered, to say the least. Again, like I said, some of the characterizations were pretty well done. And also the relationship between Tony Stark and Peter Parker was pretty well handled. You know, how Tony's kind of becoming like a mentor figure to Peter Parker. I like how it emphasized on that relationships, and you know how Stark is guiding Peter on what to do, what not to do as a hero. You know, and also the high school aspect. You know, that was pretty well done. You know, this is also the whole thing like a John Hughes movie. I mean, it's just like it really shows that difficulty, what it is like to be a youngster and feeling, you know, that awkwardness, that angst, and all that. That was pretty well. That was all handled exceptionally, I felt. And of course, you know, you see Peter going through his trials as a hero. I mean, of course, you know, You know, it is brilliantly portrayed, more so than the other Spider-Man films. You get to see that like Paul said, you get to see that conflict, and that was at the center of the movie. That, you know, you got to see that. I mean, that was like probably the best aspect of it. How that conflict between Peter Parker and Peter wanting him to be a regular high school student and him wanting to be Spider-Man. That was like the most well handled aspect overall. I said the supporting characters supporting characters were well done. Initially I didn't like Jacob Batalon as Ned Leeds at first, but he seems to be pretty good comic relief. Even he's a little two-dimensional and kind of dorky. I mean, that's kind of the point. I mean, I like some of his quotes with Peter. I mean, he's just like he's like the best. He seems like a confidant, like kind of like a brother to Peter, so forth and so on. It's just like I love their relationship, you know. I just love their chemistry overall. I mean, that was one of the best parts about it. You know, of course, like I said, Adrian Toomes, the Vulture, was excellent. All right, Paul. What about you? What were some of your positives about Spider-Man: Homecoming?
Well, everything amazing about this movie can be summed up in 3 little words: Michael fucking Keaton. He owned this movie from start to finish. His portrayal as Adrian Toomes, aka the Vulture, was hands down the best part of this movie. But then again, it should not be a surprise to everyone. The best live-action Batman of all time can pretty much do anything right. And he owned it. I mean, he was so intimidating. He was so sinister. And yet, he was also sympathetic. I mean, you felt for this guy. You knew why he was doing it. And you're like, yeah, I agree with you. I mean, you're pushing a little bit far, but I get what you're doing. And I loved him from start to finish. I really did. What else? I mean, Tom Holland as Spider-Man, he definitely had it down. Definitely a very good Peter Parker. I think Tobey was a little bit better, though, as far as that goes, but it's definitely a well-done Spider-Man. You know, Ned, yeah, I agree. He was a bit two-dimensional at times, but he grew on me pretty quickly. And to my shock, I truly loved Liz Allen. She was such an interesting character and a great love interest for Peter. She's intelligent. She's smart, great sense of humor. She's a beautiful woman. I mean, that's a very interesting character. And I was sad that she left. And that did get me upset. I will get into more detail about that at the end. But I really liked this girl. I thought she was great. And, the interaction that they had it was very well done. It felt that, yeah, those are high school conversations between a boy and a girl who like each other. So that was genuine to me. So the most of the humor was good. The action was okay. There were a lot more positive than negatives in this movie. I know I've preached the negative quite a bit, but there were a lot of things I loved. And, of course, you got to count, say, our DJ. I thought he would be in this more of this movie, but I'm glad he wasn't. And I thought he maximized his screen time. Jon Favreau, of course, was funny as hell. And what I did like about this movie that we haven't really brought up much so far is that this is the first time that we've actually seen Peter as Spider-Man, starting out at the bottom, screwing up and making mistakes, like little stupid mistakes, like missing a tree to swing on and crashing. Like, that was definitely interesting because to an extent we've never really seen that in any other Spider-Man film where he's still learning how to use his powers. Most of the other films, they're like training montages, like you see little glimpses of it and stuff like that. But this is the first time we actually see it, him learning how to use his powers, him messing up, and it was done very well. So yeah, there was a lot of good things I loved about this movie. Obviously, Michael Keaton stands above all else, but there was a lot of good there.
All right, interesting view of the process. Interesting view. All right, Mike, what about you? I mean, what did you like about this movie?
Well, majority of it I liked. I thought Michael Keaton was a fantastic villain. Like I said, he's my third favorite MCU villain right now. I thought Tom Holland was the perfect Spider-Man and Peter Parker. Whereas Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire were better at one or the other. I thought he was a perfect mixture of them both. I really like Ned Leeds. I thought that he has actually a lot more character than you guys are giving him credit for. I think most of the characters are really kind of defined in how they interact with Peter, because it is Peter's movie. But they are given plenty of kind of leeway to make the characters their own. The quiet scenes where it's just Liz talking to Peter, I thought were fantastically done. Especially that one in DC where they're where Liz and the others are sneaking off to the pool, and she just stops and kind of invites Peter along. I thought that was great. I really liked Karen.
The
robot
called Bethany's wife, I think.
Jennifer Connelly.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So the one character to come over from the original Hulk movie.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Oh yeah.
But I thought it was great. She was a kind of like a toned down version of Jarvis from the original Iron Man and Iron Man 2 movies.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought her interactions with Peter were great, kind of like just a nice sounding board. And Peter's hanging upside down in the elevator, it's like, now's your chance, kiss her. That was a great line. I love the humor in it. I thought the humor, 9 times out of 10, it hit well. It hit very well. And yeah, I mean, this is Zendaya's character I loved. I love how at the prom, you got Ned there kind of waving for Peter to come in. You got Zendaya flipping them off. I thought that was hilarious. I really liked her character. I liked the little kind of like Easter egg with her at the end. Yeah, I mean there is very little about this movie I did not like. So yeah.
Okay, that's great, Mike. That was just great. Just seeing your I mean, it's great to see your enthusiasm about it. I'm with you there very much. All right, Cole. I mean, what are your positives? What do you like about this?
All right, let me list my two of my favorite scenes in this movie are when we find out. Okay, we're really entering spoiler territory, viewers. But anyway, when Peter goes to pick up Liz for the dance, and we find out that the Vulture is her dad. I mean, first let me first tie into what I was talking about Zendaya. Like, since they didn't do a whole lot with her, probably felt like maybe if they revealed that Zendaya was the Vulture's daughter, that could have might have been a bit more interesting. But it was still nice what they did when we found out that Vulture is Liz's dad, and I really love Tom Holland's acting during that scene. He really looks like he's literally seconds away from shitting himself the entire time, and Michael Keaton just has this pleasant, affably evil vibe about him. He's like complimenting Peter on giving the right answer regarding his daughter and about the fact that he's too young to drink. And then as he's slowly starting to put the pieces together that Peter is Spider-Man, and you can see the wheels turning in his head, and he's like, good old friend Spider-Man. I'm thinking, yeah, Peter, you're kind of screwed right now. And my other favorite scene in this movie is when Peter gets crushed by the rubble that gets crushed by part of the warehouse that he and Vulture were in, and he's like trapped in.
Yes,
like the acting from Tom Holland, he really looks like he's legit terrified that he cannot get out. And that's one of my favorite. That's like one of the reasons why I liked how they scaled back on Peter's age, got an appropriate actor to portray it as well, because it really made the scenes a bit more. Because a lot of the scenes to be more, I could actually buy that this was, a young and inexperienced Peter. So seeing him trying to dig himself out of the rubble, and it felt like a very strong, powerful moment for the character, I thought.
That was my favorite scene of the entire movie. Just him like, just screaming like, help, help. And then he just like crying. And then he sees that mask like, you can do this, Spider-Man. And he just, great scene.
As for Liz Allen, she's no Gwen Stacy, I'll admit, but like I said, since they were avoiding most of the melodrama we saw in the other Spider-Man movies, she was just, a regular girl, someone that Peter could have a crush on. And I thought that she and Pete could have made a cute couple. I'm sad that, and I was kind of bummed out that they might not be a thing, but even though, well, who knows, he and Zendaya might be a thing also, but that's another story. I thought they could have made a cute couple, and I actually, when it comes to Ned, he was annoying at first, but I think he largely cleaned up his act. I think he cleaned up his act as the movie progressed. He actually, gave Peter some advice towards when they were in Washington. He's telling Peter, you probably shouldn't be doing this. This is, me hacking the suit. Isn't this kind of illegal, sort of? And Peter's like, sick of him treating me like a kid all the time. And he's like, but you are a kid, and that he's absolutely right. And I also liked how he got to help Peter out towards the end. Like he saves him from from Shocker, and he gives him some helps him out a tad to help Peter find where Vulture's located. And despite some of our comments about the action scenes, I actually really liked the final scene, the final action set piece where Peter is fighting Vulture on the plane. It's like, because, we haven't really seen an action scene like that in a Spider-Man movie before, and it felt like, Peter was, like, really in danger. That's actually something I really liked about the action scenes, and some of the other Marvel films, you can tell that, with the exception of, like, the Russo brothers directed films, more times than not, when our heroes get into fight scenes, you can tell that, they're going to kick ass and take names, whereas in this movie, almost anytime we saw the villains, you could really buy that they are going to be a legit threat to Peter. And I loved, seeing Vulture's suit. It was pretty well designed, and it looked like a very threatening, intimidating force that could, Peter might be in over. We see it for the first time. You're like, Pete might be in way over his head. And I liked some of their seeing some of their fights and whatnot. I felt like they could have done a bit more though, like show Peter maybe throwing a few more punches rather than trying to avoid getting sliced and diced. But I did like what we got from him though, and I liked how the final scene between them. It went from Peter trying to, to beat Vulture to simply trying to save him. Like when he sees his suit is about to explode, and Peter's like, "Stop! I'm trying to save you." And then he can't because he's actually run out of rubbing again. But he still manages to but he still goes and pulls him out of the rubble when it's all said and done. And I also really liked Robert Downey Jr. in this movie. Like when he showed up to save the people at the ferry, and he's like, "Hey, Spider-Man," I'm like, "Oh yeah, Tony's pissed." It was like probably one of some of Robert Downey's best. It was this Robert Downey Jr. doing his best, and he's really it was probably some of his best dramatic work. Well, maybe not the best, but some good dramatic work from him as Tony Stark. I liked how they didn't overplay him in this movie; like he was only there for like the essentials. And I think one of my other favorite parts of the movie was towards the end when Peter looks like he wants to get the iron. He looks like he's about to get the Iron Spider suit, but you can see he's like excited at first, but then it just dawns on him that he shouldn't take it. And I loved how he decided to turn down Tony, among other things. And like Paul, when you said that Peter said, "I'm probably never gonna come back to high school again. I'm like above this." I felt like that was like the point of that scene. That Peter, he was letting the prospect of being an Avenger really get to his head, and it just took all this entire movie to get him to realize that he really does need to. He forgot like why he originally set out to do this. Fighting for the little guy. About all the stuff we heard him tell Tony back in Civil War and all that jazz. So I thought that was a good sort of full circle sort of moment, so to speak. And one other thing, I actually really like this movie's use of sound, like this.
Oh, your Pepper Potts.
What?
Mike. Pepper Potts picture.
What was I saying? Oh, yeah, I like the movie's use of sound, like whenever Vulture was attacking, or the sound of the bomb going off in the ferry. And as for Karen, if Jarvis is the put-upon butler and Friday is the girl secretary, I'd say that Karen is the supportive best friend, so to speak. She was like the only person. She was like kind of the only person that Peter could really seem to like. Peter's like, it's nice to have somebody to talk to while they're discussing how to make his powers work and this and everything. And how she's like, "This is it, Peter, kiss her." I'm thinking that was that. It was an interesting dynamic. I wouldn't mind seeing or popping up in another Spider-Man movie, so to speak. Like at first, I thought she was just going to be a very weird female Jarvis, but it actually paid off. And I was also a fan of the rescue on the Washington Monument in general. Like I really felt like Peter was like very high up during that sequence. I kind of got a little dizzy myself. And seeing him just diving in, saving the people from the falling elevator, that was actually a pretty well shot action set piece, I thought. But anyway, those are some of my positives.
All right. It's great coding. All right, Max, what are some of your positives? What is it about these movies you liked? One of the things that stood out to you, just said, I like this about
everything.
There's one thing that probably I haven't heard people talking about, but Donald Glover as Aaron Davis, he had like 2 scenes in the movie, but he was awesome in it. And there was this little nod to Miles Morales that I really liked. That's another thing that I liked a lot. But I mentioned a few things in the negatives that I liked, but I really liked the action. People think Mike said that the film was shaky. It wasn't shaky. Civil War was shaky. Civil War had tons of shaky cam.
Only in the first battle sequence, the airport scene was smooth as silk.
Yeah, but
go back and rewatch it. That scene is completely no shaky cam.
I hope so. I need to rewatch that. What else? Well, I really liked everything about the movie. I have to admit, I love the post-credit scene. Post-credit scene is probably the best Marvel post-credit scene ever. And at this point, Marvel can put anything, and that people will stay at the end of the credits because they hope that maybe they'll have a tag or something. But no, it's just Captain America saying people to be patient, and sometimes patience can be very rewarding, or other times it can lead to nothing at all.
This is Marvel's version of it's over. Go home.
Something so disappointing. That was incredible. Now Marvel controlled the audience because now they know that there's a post-credit scene at the end of a movie. But Tom Holland, 3 words, best Spider-Man ever. Like Tobey Maguire, move over, Andrew Garfield. We have a new Spider-Man in town, and he is here to stay. The action is amazing. The 3D, if you saw this in the IMAX 3D or in 3D, it's really incredible. The Washington Monument scene, you actually feel some sort of vertigo and some sort of like, whoa, this is really high. And it gets heightened by the 3D. Great movie. Great use of soundtrack. The score by Michael Giacchino, the Spider-Man theme, is really, really, really cool.
Mm-hmm.
And I love Marissa Tomei as Aunt May, not just because of eye candy.
Okay, all right, that's great, Max. It's like this is another enthusiastic guy, another enthusiastic part, and member of this group there. Although I wasn't a fan of him.
Although it wasn't as good as The Amazing Spider-Man 2.
Okay, Max. That's enough. That's enough. That's enough. That's enough.
Yeah.
That's enough. I mean, you're getting delirious, Max. I mean, yeah, I think the Michael Giacchino score wasn't that great. I mean, I prefer Rogue's one score a little bit more. So, I mean, that's just me. That's just me. I mean, the score wasn't really there. I mean, like I said, it's just me. I mean, all right, Avi. Well, I mean, what are your positives of the movie?
Yeah, like everyone else said, pretty much what everyone else said. Michael Keaton. I don't know if he's my favorite MCU villain. I still like Loki more. People are kind of mixed on the movie, but I think Ultron's a pretty good villain. So yeah, Keaton's one of my favorite villains in the MCU movies, but also they're known for not having the best villains. But it's Michael Keaton, so he'll be great in everything. Yeah, the score was actually I like the score. It was maybe like a more smoother Spider-Man score. I like kind of how it mixed in with the opening and everything. So yeah, the score, yeah, the end credit scene was funny. Not my favorite end credit scene. I still like Guardians end credit scene and the first Avengers end credit scene. Yeah, so it was a fun end credit scene. Let's see. I'm trying to. So yeah, Keaton, the score, the end credit scene. I guess I'm trying to think. I'm trying to think. I have a lot of things that aren't positives or negatives. Like I said, Holland does a fine job, I think. Like the more I think about it, maybe he's not that good, but yeah, he's fine. A lot of it is just fine. Like you may think, oh, I really hated it because I had more negatives than positives. No, a lot of the stuff was just passable, and I don't know. I feel like I'm a good person that could judge it because I'm not as big on Spider-Man, so I could just judge it. Like it might have been a great Spider-Man movie, but I don't know. I thought it was really just safe. I know that's gonna upset people, and Keaton was good. The end credit scene was good. And the score was good. And Holland did fine. Yeah. The rest of it was just
critic of it. You should consider that for a career.
Yeah.
What did you say?
I'm not on you. I'm just saying you'd be great for it.
Mm-hmm. Thanks. But yeah, I don't know. There were a lot of okay stuff, and then there were more okay stuff, pretty much, and that's why I didn't love it. But yeah,
Cool. Chris, where'd he go?
Where did
he's
he
probably
go?
upset that I didn't love it.
Did the host movie just leave us in the middle of the show?
Where are you hiding?
Well,
I think
this
he's
is
pretty upset.
How petty can a person be? Chris, you get your sorry ass back here this instant.
he's gonna jump in like screaming. Ah!
He's probably getting something. Probably a show like, oh, how I don't know. anything.
Spider-Man Homecoming is the best Spider-Man movie since Spider-Man 3.
Okay, will you stop trolling us, Max? We all
See,
know.
I
that.
wouldn't, Max. I wouldn't call it trolling if you were being honest. People say, "Oh, if you like a movie I don't like, it's trolling," but you are trolling.
Spider-Man 3
Penis!
is not a good movie. It's a piece
We are
of
not doing that, Mike.
They literally
garbage.
they had like a crew joke in Guardians 2 also. I don't know what they're trying.
Yeah,
Are they trying?
Guardians 2 was
Yeah, the
awesome.
jokes
Oh,
about
yeah,
Drax
he
is
goes
dumb.
like,
I can
"Oh, yes,
also
I
get
have."
down with that, but that's another story.
Yeah, I don't know.
Guardians
Are
2
they
was
like
amazing.
trying to be more edgy? Like,
I'm an edgy kid. I love Suicide Squad. It's such a great movie. No, that's
but like no, like I don't know. They still haven't thrown an F-bomb in any Marvel movie. They've come close. They've been like hinting at it, and then this movie ended with
Well-
it. But like,
well, the ending couldn't have been more perfect.
Hmm.
Yeah, you know what I liked about that ending actually, since Chris isn't here. Well, what I liked about that ending is that at first I thought Aunt May was gonna say I knew it when when we saw she was standing behind Peter, so it was even more hilarious when she's like, "What the fuck?"
We'll get to that in a moment. Oh my goodness. Sorry for that, folks. I just had to do something for a bit.
Hey, Paul.
Huh?
Sorry. Hey, Paul.
Yeah,
Right here.
Okay.
Right
Well, something positive I forgot to say. I just wanted to direct it towards you. You were saying that Pete, the movie didn't do a good job, showing the consequences of Peter choosing to be Spider-Man. But I actually liked how they kind of took sort of a reverse direction to what Spider-Man 2 did, where Peter saw being Spider-Man. He didn't see it. He wasn't in a stage where he started to see doing the right thing as a burden, I guess you could say. I guess it was their way of trying to, show us that he knows their lessons of power and responsibility without having to actually tell us that he's actually been through that, so to speak. Like I liked how he showed he wanted to go to the party and drop in a Spider-Man, talk himself up and whatnot. But when he's like, no, Spider-Man, I shouldn't be doing this. Spider-Man's not a party trick, and then he chooses instead to go, investigate that arms deal going down, and even after it's been finished and done with, and he says, "Okay, I'm heading back." And he doesn't, and Ned says, "Yeah, you might not want to come because everyone's making fun of you now." And I liked how Peter didn't, decide to go rushing over there and trying to talk himself up or anything like that. It was just like a good humble moment, I guess you could say, from Peter.
I mean, if they're gonna go that road, I mean, maybe he should do some stupid things. Like at that moment, I would have loved to see him just crash the party. Like,
yeah, they
you
got
must be Flash. I know some guy named Peter Parker who you make fun of a lot. I have a message for you from him. Psst, shut up. I would have loved to have seen that.
That would have been funny, actually.
Yeah, someone did bring up a good point in some review that how come no one has just like punched Flash like after like 5 minutes?
That's a good question.
Maybe
they're all trying to be the bigger
listen to this guy.
Penis.
I will say that I know the positive was that they did tone down Robert Downey Jr. Like from the trailers, it made it look like he's going to be in a half the movie, but yeah, they toned it down to pretty much what we saw in the trailers. And I like Favreau, so yeah.
You're too loud, Fred. Stop eating. You're rustling the bag too much. We can't hear you.
What were you saying now, Abby, about Robert Downey Jr.?
No, that they toned him down. That it was pretty much what we saw in the trailer. A lot of people feared that he was going to be in a lot, and I liked Favreau also. But yeah, a lot of people feared that he was going to be in like half the movie.
All right. Well,
yeah, the marketing team did not do themselves any favors with this movie. I mean, marketing Iron Man appeals more to general audiences because at least in the MCU movies, the Iron Man movies do great.
Wasn't that poster terrible? That stupid poster that they
I don't know which one you're talking about. They were all bad.
Well,
I think that the first couple of
the
posters
Mondo.
were good.
They
It
had
wasn't
one.
like
It was I think it was a fake one but it was like they're all in like a lunch bag or something. And it's just like literally a bunch of things. Under Keaton, it says like
Nice work, Max.
bad dude, so I knew it was fake.
That's the IMAX poster. That's a genuine.
No, it's
poster.
fake. It says bad dude under Michael Keaton.
No, it's a genuine poster. It's an IMAX poster.
I actually really like the Mondo poster that they just released not too long ago. It's an artwork one. It has like a spiral and half.
Yeah,
this
I like
and-
that. Fine. I feel like it could have been done better, but yeah, that was a fine
Look at
poster.
this.
But everything else
Look
was
at
fine.
this.
That's just horrible.
That's the poster that started. That was the poster that started the downward spiral.
Make sure you get Jon Favreau in there as big as other characters. Jon Favreau's as big as Aunt May. He's a big character.
John Favreau had as much time in this. John Favreau had much time in this movie as Tony Stark did. So
Actually, I think Favreau had more time.
Yeah, Favreau did have more time because Favreau was besides for Tony's talk with Spidey on like the bridge, Tony was always with Favreau, so Favreau had more time.
I think the marketing with Tony Stark, that was not important not just because of the general public opinion of Iron Man, but also because you have to pretty much hammer it into everybody's head. Guess what? This Spider-Man is part of the Iron Man MCU series. It's not it's not the Andrew Garfield, it's not the Tobey Maguire. It is part of the MCU. And that's how you do it. You just put Iron Man all over the market.
Yeah. That was kind of like the general point, with this. This is what's to differentiate. Yeah, this is like this Spider-Man is part of a different universe than what we've seen before. He's actually part of
this is an official poster.
Oh, that was awful. I can't believe that was official because under Keaton it does say bad dude,
Yeah,
signifying
but it's
that he's the
IMAX
bad guy.
poster. That's the official poster.
very awful.
Yeah, I'm on the website right now. IMAX exclusive art.
Oh my gosh, it seemed so fake unless they were in on the joke that all their posters were awful. That might be.
Yeah, that's awful. Though.
Well, it's still better than this piece of shit.
Yeah.
I don't see the point of
Pretty awful.
Spider-Man to Transformers.
Pretty awful. Okay, guys.
Transformers is another story, Max.
Yeah,
Like,
saying Spider-Man is better than Transformers isn't saying Spider-Man is that great then.
This is the poster that I like.
Yeah,
this is a really good, solid one.
Yeah, that one's good. I feel like I understand the intention. I think it could have been better, but I understand the intention. I like that better.
I just like that it's actual artwork and not Photoshop.
Not characters just on the screen, like.
Yeah, it's someone actually put in the time and effort to make this piece of art. I like that.
That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. Going on, we're going to another part of our discussion is the twist that I don't think anyone saw coming. I had a feeling, but I wasn't sure if I could have anything to back this up on. And we had Peter finally mucks up the courage to ask Liz out on the date to homecoming. And when he shows up at his date's front door, who's he introduced but her father, Adrian Toomes, the Vulture. Oh my goodness. That'll be any nightmare for a kid to have. Oh my lord. Oh my goodness.
I mean, just meeting your date's father is bad enough. But knowing that he's a psychopath.
Oh yeah. And when he pulls a gun on you on your first date, your first date with his daughter, I mean,
It's called the dad talk.
To a psychiatrist for that. I mean, I guess.
It's called the dad talk.
But anyway, when I saw it for the first time, I was like, "This gotta be a joke, right?" Because this is not funny. I mean, I knew it was a legitimate joke, but it's just like my heart was actually racing. It's like, I suppose it's a pretty adequate twist.
Yeah.
And it's instrumental in the story and instrumental into the building of the climax, very much. I mean, and the things don't work out well in the wrong one, of course, You end up, listen, Peter don't further their relationship, but I felt it was I'm not sure that I feel like that's pretty hokey. looking at it first off, I was like, this is actually kind of hokey, but looking at it more and more, I think this is like that was a well-developed part. This is like I thought that was a pretty good direction for them to go in. This it has like having the villain of the movie being being the father, one of the main characters. It's like, oh boy, yeah. I myself, I was just like, I would have. I kept thinking myself in the car, he's probably going to shoot people. He's probably going to shoot Peter. Although, well, maybe that was less than likely. But all in all, I thought that was a kind of a interesting stroke on Marvel's part. I mean, and like I said, it furthered the tension, and it increased and it made the obvious even more determined to see Keaton's character get defeated by Spider-Man. Though, because, like I said, I thought it was like I find myself, this has got to be a joke at first, but I eventually warmed up to the idea. All right, Paul, what was your reaction when that scene happened?
I think it was just like everyone else, like, oh shit, just got real. Okay, yeah, I mean, like you said, like Mike said, when a 15-year-old boy meets his date's father for the first time, that's scary enough. You're already struggling not to piss your pants out of fear. Now to find out that the girl you got a crush on, her dad happens to be a villain who has access to a high-tech flying suit. Forget just trying to piss your pants out of fear. You're trying to not just piss and shit your pants out of fear. You're not trying to do that. That was hands down like the most intense scene in the film, and one of the tensest scenes in any Marvel film, well, since Civil War. At the end, there's that reveal at the end of Civil War, which we found out that Bucky killed Tony's parents. I mean, yep. The
spoiler.
Dread and terror that you feel from Peter in every second of it, especially the dad talk.
Oh yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Don't
mess with me.
You could feel the terror just radiating from Tom Holland. Like, It would actually make you scared for him. Like, so yeah, that was incredibly well done on Marvel's part, and a brilliant performance by both Keaton and Holland. Keaton bringing the intensity, the straight up terror, and Tom just selling the fear and terror, just selling the fear. So good job on that.
I can't wait for him to say and pull up a picture of him as Batman from the Batman movie. If I happen in the lead scene, I'm just kidding. But there's also the great thoughts, Paul. Great thoughts. I mean, great take on it. All right, Mike. What about you? What was your reaction when that scene?
Yeah, I mean, I actually kind of thought that maybe he was Zendaya's character's father, honestly. And the fact that he was Liz's father, that never even came into my mind, so that was a shocker. No pun intended. But what seeing it a second time, what really makes that scene even more impactful, though, is the fact that Peter's finally just kind of like he's a kind of abandoned Spider-Man. Tony took his suit away, so he's just kind of getting back into his life as a high school student. He's doing better in classes. He's building the Lego with Death Star with Ned. Oh man, I want that set so bad. So, but he finally asks Liz out. He's everything's coming up, and then boom, he gets thrown right back into the Spider-Man universe. He was back into as a kid, and then boom, he's right there. And that entire ride, and even at the end during the talk with the gun, Keaton's like, "You're just gonna walk in there, you're gonna show my daughter a good time, but not too good, and you're gonna leave me alone." So he was basically saying, this is the time where you have to make a choice. You have to choose: do you want to be a kid, or do you want to be Spider-Man? And
I love the way how he, his rationale for that choice. Before he made it, you said, you get the impression that he would normally just kill Peter right now, but
Yeah,
The fact
you
that
saved
he
my
Liz,
daughter.
like, this is my thank you. I'm giving you this choice.
I love the the kind of the form of honor that Keaton did have, though.
Yeah.
I even showed it in the first end credit sequence. But anyway, and then when Peter's standing at the door to the school, he's standing there, and that this is the point where he has to make the choice. And he walks in and he says, "Liz, I gotta go. You don't deserve this." And that's where he makes his choice. With great power comes great responsibility. In a sense, that's what's going through his mind right there. That's what I think makes that scene even more impactful. I love that entire scene, right from the meeting at the door to the end of the car scene. That was just one of the best sequences in the entire movie.
Yeah, that was just a well directed, well executed. It very much. I mean, I kept thinking to myself, is this The Sopranos? And him casually pulling his gun out. It's like, dude is not messing around. It's like, that's how good he was in the movie. Oh, jeez, he's just a force.
Don't you interfere with my business again, because I will kill you and everybody you love. That moment.
Yeah, that was.
I kind of wanted Peter to say at that moment, but I love your daughter too. Probably would have ruined the scene though. So
pretty much. All right, Colton. What was your reaction to that scene?
Like I said, I was like, "Oh crap!" when we saw that he was Liz's dad, and like I said, I loved how Tom Holland literally looks like he's shitting himself for the entire from the moment he steps into that door to the ending of his talk with Keaton to when he has to run away from the dance. Tom Holland looks like he's shitting himself for the whole bit and everything. It's a great bit of acting from him, and I loved how Michael Keaton was just cool as a cucumber the entire time. But like everyone else said, I liked how he has had his own bit of honor, so to speak. Like he really appreciated that Peter saved his daughter's life, so he was going to give him a chance to walk away because he had nothing against him personally. He really had more of an issue with Tony Stark and all the people that were above them and everything like that. Something that we haven't really seen in a Spider-Man movie before, or really in any superhero movie that I can think of off the top of my head, so to speak. And I also loved how Keaton was shown to be like a loving family man or anything like that. Liz didn't have any issues with him. He loved her, she loved him, and everything. His wife, seemed to be on good terms with his wife and all that jazz. So kind of made you really feel for all of them. He even says that he doesn't want them to be around doesn't want his family to be around for the trial because he wants to see their dad having to go through a fiasco like that. And Mike, yeah, what you said about that being the moment where Peter makes a choice that he has to be between being a kid or being Spider-Man, I hadn't thought about that before. Actually, it's an interesting interpretation of the scene, I think. So overall, yeah, those are my reactions to the reveal that Vulture was the father of Liz. And actually, going back to how I thought that he was going to be Zendaya's father, I think it actually kind of makes kind of even better actually that he was Liz's dad, because it would be kind of cliche, I guess, to say that the weird sort of oddball happens to have a villain for a father, where in this case, the villain is actually the father of the normal, well-adjusted kid, so to speak. An interesting way to look at it.
All right, great. That's great. That's great. All right, Max, what about you? What was your reaction when the soul scene occurred?
My reaction, I actually laughed when I saw it. Everybody was like, I was like,
oh, wow.
That's great. But I really, that scene, was like, it took everything to another level. It was like the scene where Ego said, "It broke my heart to put that tumor in her head." That in the theater, I rewatched it not too long ago on a Disney cruise, and was with people that never saw the movie before, so everybody was reacting like, "Oh, what?" So it was interesting. But now this movie, people laughed and people were surprised. I laughed because I thought it was a funny, kind of an interesting twist, interesting. it made the movie a lot more compelling than it actually was. And that scene in the car where he just pulls his gun. Peter Parker was about to go to homecoming. It's like,
Oh my lord.
and he's just like, does she know? No, what? Good. I'm like, oh my god, what the hell? But he can't kill him because Spider-Man saved Liz in the Washington Monument. It's Vulture's my second favorite Marvel Cinematic Universe villain. His motivations are very clear, and you know where he's coming from, because it's like, first he has a job, and now damage control just takes over, and then he doesn't have a job anymore. What does he do? He wants to fight. The world's changing, boys. It's time we change too. That's what he says at the beginning of the movie. He's a really great villain. I really liked him, but I like Michael Keaton in mostly. There's some actors that I like even in like horrible movies. They're gonna make a good job because they're the only ones that seem to care about the movie. This movie's not horrible. It's a great movie. Michael Keaton's a great villain. Thank God for that. I when I saw the trailer for Homecoming, I didn't think that Michael Keaton was gonna be a good villain. I know. I thought, I was like, because the way it's edited, I'm like, nah, I don't know. But no, he was actually quite good. So I enjoyed him in the movie, and I think everyone enjoyed him in the movie. That's my opinion on Michael Keaton.
Okay, so we'll be on that one, Max. And yeah, Michael Keaton was the best thing to happen to this one. The best things that happened to this movie.
Yes, yes, he was. Yeah,
Absolutely.
he was. He made the movie even better.
Yeah, I can't argue with that. Definitely can't argue with that. All right, Abby, what was your reaction when that scene occurred?
Pretty much what everyone else said. I'm not gonna be like, oh, I flipped out of my chair or whatever. But yeah, it was a good twist. The scene's pretty much made by Michael Keaton, who is actually a really underrated actor. I know everyone knows him. I know everyone knows him from like Batman and Beetlejuice, but I watched The Founder last night, and it was really good.
I mean, he's right in Birdman. So.
Yeah, Birdman, he's great. Check out Spotlight. That's great. The Founder, I saw it. That's great. He even makes bad movies like which he was in Herbie Fully Loaded. Yeah, he's just a great actor, even in bad movies. But yeah, the scene is made by him. Holland does fine. The scene is made by Keaton. Just the twist is great. I don't know the comics, so I don't know if that happens in the comics or anything.
It doesn't.
But okay. So yeah, the scene is made by Keaton. Station in the car was probably my favorite scene in the movie. Yeah, it's just a great performance by Keaton, and yeah, other than what everyone else said, I don't have anything to add.
Okay, all right, that's good. All right, great take there. Great take. Great take by everyone. Going on to the end of the scene, of course, we have the ending of the movie. Spider-Man is finally offered to be part of the Avengers, but he turns it down. He said he wants to stay to the ground, and also, so he goes off his direction. Stark still is the leader of the Avengers. Of course, that ending, when he puts on, when Tony gives him back the suit, and he turns on the suit, and that man comes in, she's like, what the
Perfect editing in that one. I'm glad that they cut it off halfway through.
That was a really tongue in cheek for them to close it. Just in that fashion, just not showing the full extent of her reaction. But that was just brilliant and just hilarious how they went that route. I know everyone seems to enjoy that close of the movie pretty much. What was it? Yeah, because there were two post-credit scenes. Actually, the first scene I didn't get to see was just in the mid-credits. Of course, we all know that the post-credit scene where we had Captain America, talking about patience. But the main overall the credit scene is that we see Tombs locked up at the raft. I didn't see the scene. like I said, we see Toomes locked up at the raft, and he's with one of the inmates, and he's talking, and one of the inmates comes up to him, and it happens to be MacDonald McGargan, who's supposed to be, and he's supposed to be a famous Spider-Man villain, the Scorpion, you know, and it's possibly teasing that we may see him in a Spider-Man sequel. Like I said, I didn't see the series. I didn't see the scene, you know, and he asked him does he know who the identity Spider-Man is, and Toomes living up to his word and living up to his honor, he says no, he doesn't know who he is. I mean, like I said, I didn't see the scene, but I know about it. So I was just want to ask, what was everyone's reaction to that? Paul, what about you? What was your reaction to that?
I hope Marvel's handling that Sinister Six movie that Sony's got planned. Otherwise, sorry, no.
Really?
You cannot develop an entire cinematic universe built around just one frigging character, okay? And I know what Sony's doing with this. They're still trying to set up Spider-Man versus the Sinister Six. Okay, that's fine, but, you know, don't give us an entire movie devoted to the Sinister Six. If you want to have the Sinister Six in the Spider-Man movie, have them facing off against Spider-Man. You want to set that up, that's fine. But as far as I know, Sony still wanted to do a Sinister Six movie. And I'm like, cut that shit out, Sony. All right, it's not going to work. All right, you want to have Spider-Man face off against the Sinister Six, that's fine. But don't give these people their own movie, for God's sakes. So I think Scorpion's there because they're trying to set up a Sinister Six. He might be a villain in the second movie. I'm hoping to God we see if there's going to have an additional villain, maybe Kraven or Mysterio or something. I'm still campaigning for Gerard Butler to play Kraven the Hunter. That is what I really want to see out of this. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. We'll see.
Okay.
That's all I got. I don't have much to say about that.
I don't know. I'm not certain. About your theory about the success. I don't know that. They may be blown out of proportion. I'm not trying to say. I'm just saying. I'm just not sure about that whole. I'm not sure about that whole thing. I mean, definitely not. I mean, they may want to lead that alone. I mean, the guy they did. All right, Mike. What was your reaction to that scene when the whole scene happened?
I loved the scene. I thought it was a great one. And again, showcases Michael Keaton's kind of like Gargan had been in the movie before. He was like thrown off the ferry during the arms deal, and he actually had a scorpion tattooed on his neck right there. And he just says word is that you know who Spider-Man is, and Michael Keaton just says, if I knew who he was, he'd be dead already. And then he just kind of walks off, and you get. I mean, he's very ambiguous about it. You don't know whether he means if he didn't tell him because he wants to kill Spider-Man himself, because he did promise if you get in my way again, I will kill you and everyone you love. But he also shows he was very. He has a form of honor, and if you save his life, he kind of owes you for that. And Spider-Man did save his life. So you don't know if it's a revenge or if it's honor or a mixture of the two. It's a great showcase of Michael Keaton as the villain there. Mm-hmm. Paul, I think you jumped a few steps right there. I mean, I get your fear. I get it because Sony's tried it before. But just because just because Baron Zemo was the villain of Captain America: Civil War does not mean that they're working towards the Masters of Evil. Just because the Gargan showed up in a Spider-Man movie does not mean that they're jumping for Sinister Six. Maybe the next movie we get the Scorpion as a villain. I think Scorpion would be a fantastic villain. I mean, maybe there's Sinister Six down the road, but right now I think that if they are going to be working towards a Sinister Six, that's a hard one to say. I'm not going to stop lying. I think they're doing it the right way. I think they're doing it piece by piece. They're going to slowly kind of start to connect the dots where they can, but it's going to be in a more natural, organic fashion.
That I agree with.
And I think this movie did a great job. If they are going that way, I think they did a great job of just planting the initial seed. Nothing more than just dropping it in there and seeing how people react to it. I thought it was fantastic. I love that that scene, and that post-credit scene, the one with Captain America. That was just that was just Marvel's version of, "You still here? The movie's over. Go home."
I have never been so enthusiastic and yet so pissed off at a credit scene.
Yeah, Marvel just trolled us all.
But it's also their way of saying, "Ha ha, we got you."
Exactly, Marvel trolled us, and I've never been so happy to be trolled in my life. I thought it was the best scene. It was even better watching it the second time. So yeah, I love those end credit sequences. So.
All right, right there, Mike. Right. All right, Colton, what was your reaction to the Madonna?
Well, at first I was kind of disappointed that Keaton or Toombs was like, if I knew who Spider-Man was, he was dead. He'd already be dead, like he wasn't gonna. And then he walks off. But then actually, I kind of like that he did, because it's their way of sort of hinting that there could be a Sinister Six, but they didn't. But rather than saying, yeah, it's going to happen, let's, like Mike said, it was like a seed that was planted. It's like, it could happen, but we're not like making it set in stone at the moment right now. It's just right now just a reference to what things that could maybe happen in this universe. But unlike, the Amazing Spider-Man 2, which really jumped the gun, it was like, hey, Sinister Six, it was like, hey, we're going to be doing the Sinister Six, and then bam, they get canceled before they can get that far. The MCU just they hinted at something that we could get maybe, but if not, it's not like we're being cheated out of something, I guess you could say. And like everyone else said, I found the Captain America final PSA to be pretty humorous. And fun fact, when I was leaving the movie today and people were watching that, after that post-credit sequence was over, some of the people in the audience were still like sitting down in their chairs as I was walking out. And I'm like, "It's over, people!" And they all laughed. They all got a laugh out of that.
No, I kind of did the same thing. I started like walking out of the theater after that, but I'm kind of going slow just to make sure there wasn't another one, because I would not put that past Marvel.
Yeah, it was fun that they trolled us, especially since it's like, at this point, it's required that we all, okay, not required, but expected that we all stick around through the credits to see what's going to happen. And quite frankly, I think my favorite ending credits are probably Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 and Winter Soldier, but this is a good way to sort of this is a good way to sort of troll / reward us for sticking around. Have
you noticed in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 at one point you see Jeff Goldblum just dancing in the credits?
Yeah, I did. That was a pretty
because
humorous.
he wasn't in the movie, so he was. It
was a funny Easter egg for anyone that knows that Thor, Ragnarok, and everything.
Yes,
but that's another
story. Spread from work.
Way to introduce the character of the Grandmaster, just having him dance in the credits because he's Jeff Goldblum. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I'm finished now, so whoever's next.
All right, Max. What was your reaction to that whole scene?
The post-credit scene or the?
Yes, yeah, with on the rap.
Well, first off, the May's reaction to Peter becoming Peter, when she realized that Peter Spider-Man is priceless. The post-credit scene was hilarious. Like I said, the best post-credit scene ever. It's so funny. Marvel can do anything now. They can even just show a blank screen with just nothing on it, except maybe Captain America saying to be patient, and there's nothing happening. But then, Paul, he said that he wanted to make sure, but because there were other credits rolling after the scene with Captain America, so I said, "Oh, maybe there's something," but there wasn't anything. It was very funny. See, I think some of the audience members in the theater were like, "What? What?" But I thought it was hilarious.
Well, what about the whole raft scene where they're at the raft? Oh, okay, all right. I mean that's what he thought of it. I mean, all right. I mean, what about your reaction? What was your reaction to the mid credits and post credits scene?
The mid credits scene, I get it. well, Keaton, like I said before, he's so menacing. He's great. I don't know much about comics, so I can't really say how good the mid-credit scene is, but I don't know. Keaton did a good job, but the other actor did a good job. Yeah, it was a good mid-credit scene. The post-credit scene, I wouldn't really. I mean, I guess it's Marvel trolling the audience, but you still had a mid-credit scene showing you something, so it wasn't really trolling. The first Guardians was much more of a trolling moment since you got no continuation of any story or anything in the MCU. Like the mid-credit scene in Guardians was just Baby Groot dancing, and the ending was Howard the Duck. In this one, you at least got a continuation with the mid-credit scene. And I'm glad Marvel had like kind of a nothing nothing end credit scene, because it tones down the 5 mid-credit scenes from their last movie. Because I feel like they went a little overboard in Guardians 2, and I'm glad they kind of slowed down from having 5 post-credit scenes to having a joke end credit scene. Yeah, it was a funny end credit scene. The mid-credit scene, I don't know much about comics, but good performances.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. That's a nice take on it. That's a nice, nice opinion. Nice take on it. All right, Paul. I'm gonna let you lead us out of here. Let you.
Oh, should we talk about the Michelle, the MJ? Did we?
Oh,
I mean, we didn't. I thought you said we were going to save it like till the end to talk more.
Yeah, just a little. Well, just my take on it. I mean, this my people don't try to make. It's trying to get. I mean, just let's say, yeah.
Press 3.
All right. We know the character's the character's full name is Michelle Jones. I mean, yes, yeah, and we see who her initials are, NJ. It's just people just don't try to read too much into anything. Okay,
They made you. That's how they said the line. They want you to read much into it. They were like, "Oh, her name initials are MJ." Wink, wink, wink.
But her name
it's just an Easter egg, nothing more. It's just like when Robin, like when John Blake's name in Dark Knight Rises, first name is Robin.
Like she's not Mary Jane or anything. It's just like a wink, wink. Wink, wink.
Yeah, but it's a little too like winky. Like, oh, MJ, like Mary Jane. I get it.
I think my problem with it though is the fact that is that they have this character being around, being all mysterious. You don't know anything about her, and then band are like, "Oh, my friends call me MJ," and it just felt kind of tacked on. And I think part of my problem with it is that the fact that I think that Zendaya could make a pretty good Mary Jane, so I'm like, just make her Mary Jane. Will you stop winking, Max? Zendaya could actually make a pretty good Mary Jane, so probably just wants her just to straight up be Mary Jane, so to speak, rather than going in this weird runish way they did. Or maybe she should be MJ, or maybe she's just the homage that we'll see in actual Mary Jane later. I don't know.
Yep.
Yeah, like I said, I think they hyped the character a little too much. They think they focused a little too much on her. I mean, it's just like, I know she wasn't going to be like a big part.
Really focus on Zendaya. She was barely in it.
Yeah, she was. She only had like around 10 minutes of screen time, 5-10 minutes of screen time.
Iron Man had 4 scenes, and Zendaya had like 5.
It was also the fact that like Zendaya
she wasn't in it for like a lot. She was in it for like 5 seconds maybe.
What'd you say, Abby?
I was saying it's also the fact that like Zendaya and like everyone before the movie were like all saying she's not Mary Jane, and then they just kind of like throw in that thing at the end. Then why did you say that? Why did you spend so much time trying to think that if you want to keep her so far away from Mary Jane, don't be like, my name is MJ. Whatever. I don't know. It was just kind of annoying me.
Spoiled guess or twist like way before that was going to happen. Like if they just kept things close to the. If they had kept things close to the vest, had made a giant deal about Zendaya being around, then we probably would have been. Then the Mary Jane MJ moment probably would have worked more, because it looked like it was intended to just be sort of a offhand line or something like that, and then but then the movie like moves on before it's important. But because the film team and everything put so much effort into saying no, she's not Mary Jane, that naturally we're going to feel like we were conned or trolled or something when they're like, okay, yeah, it turns out she actually is.
Also, she never gets mad anywhere else in the movie that people call her Michelle. She's not like to them all the time, my name is MJ. But then just for that last wink wink moment, she's like, oh, by the way, my name's MJ.
Yeah.
It's like I guess that was kind of meant to show that she was trying to value the academic people as her friends, so to speak. Because she's like, at first she's like, I don't have any friends, and then she's like, and then when she says my friends call me MJ, and Ned says, I thought you don't have any friends, and she says I didn't.
Yeah,
so that's
I thought that was the whole point of her arc. I mean, at the beginning she said, I don't, you know, they said, so why are you sitting with us? Because I don't have any friends. And then at the end, you know, she says, I didn't.
I get
she's
that.
got friends now.
I understand that. I think I'll probably in the grand scheme of things, that I think that was the point. But I feel like it was kind of like some of the impact was kind of lessened by the whole vehemently denying that she's not Mary Jane thing.
Well, she's not Mary Jane.
Whatever, you know what I'm saying. If they had stopped trying to, I feel like after the jig was up, they should have been like, yeah, it's an homage, okay, where she's not Mary Jane, but we're going in a sort of wink direction. If they had been upfront about that after the jig was up, rather than trying to string the audience along, I think we would have been more okay with it, so to speak.
So you're mad at them for not making her Mary Jane because she isn't Mary Jane.
I'm not mad at them. I'm saying that this whole
I guess
lie to the audience thing was that. Screw it. Never mind. I lost my train of thought.
It's just a fun Easter egg.
It doesn't bother me a whole lot. It's just one of those things, I guess. I believe it more in the marketing team. Okay, but that's beside the point.
Tony stinks at marketing. Everyone knows this.
Yes.
Yes.
I'm so glad I stopped watching after the second trailer. I mean, I know technically speaking, the second trailer gave away several major beats, but then there was like another trailer after that or something. I'm like, yeah, I'm not gonna. I mean, after remembering how the Amazing Spider-Man trailers turned out and all their advertising, like, yeah, I'm not gonna watch any more advertising for this film.
Yeah, putting the scene where Tony took his suit away, that should never have made it into any of the trailers. That would have had so much more impact.
Definitely. Part of the excitement of the ferry scene was like when the ferry starts breaking up and Peter's like, no, and he like grabs one of his web lines, he's struggling to keep it together. Like, so the excitement was kind of lessened since we all knew that Tony was going to come in and save the day. I mean, it was still a good scene, but I would have liked to have been surprised more.
Yeah. Oh, you could talk.
I'm good. You can go.
Yeah, I was going to say, yeah, at least like they kind of, I wish they kind of, say some bits from the movie. Yeah, and yeah, the second trailer wasn't all that great. They revealed some stuff. They should have, they fumbled a bit on some parts. It kind of felt, what shall we say? It felt kind of choppy in its editing, I guess. Yeah.
And the reason the Keaton twist worked so well is because they didn't show it in the trailer.
I'm actually glad that they didn't. It feels like the kind of trailer that they would love to have spoiled the hell out of.
That would have been something like they just show the full thing in the trailer. Just be like, oh, he's your father. Let's show that in the trailer.
Don't ever interfere my work.
I do wish that they had not shown the scene in the car in the trailer as well.
Oh, they did? Okay.
Well, they showed it like where you looking back at him and said, "I will kill you and everyone you love."
Okay.
I mean,
it's fine.
I feel like that scene didn't get lessened though because the context. Once we knew what the context was, that was a far more menacing moment. Like at first, I thought the car scene, and we saw it in the trailers. It looked like he was saying that to Peter after he got hit by that bus, but in reality, he was saying it to him like for totally different reasons than we expected, which made it effective, I guess you could say.
Yeah, the only scene that I'm really pissed that they put in the trailer is the scene where Tony says, like, if you're nothing without the suit, then you shouldn't have it.
Yeah,
that shouldn't do that. No.
Especially because Iron Man's such a hypocrite in that scene because he's really nothing without his suit. He's
exactly. That's what he said back in Iron Man 2. This is like Iron Man. I am Iron Man. The suit and I are one. Yeah.
But that's why he also said, "I wanted you to be better."
Oh, okay, fine.
Right. I guess yeah, that kind of makes sense though. Like it kind of makes it does have that. That's a good point there, Mike. Good point. I was gonna say, well, Paul, I'm gonna let you lead us on out here.
You're not gonna let me talk about that Michelle thing. I was trying to sit in your way.
No.
Huh?
He wants to talk about the.
I know. I'm talking about closing. I was talking about closing the show.
I mean, you could talk about the MJ thing.
All right, Paul, if you want to talk about it, go ahead.
You can talk about the MJ thing.
We can't stop you.
Yeah, you have the power.
Yes.
To hang out.
Oh boy.
Paul?
What the fuck?
Oh, he's playing some video for his reaction.
We can't hear it, Paul. Turn it the
No, we
volume.
can't hear it.
Well, now it's ruined.
You bastard.
That tell you what it is?
Huh?
That little screaming tell you my reaction about it?
We couldn't hear it.
I mean, I heard screaming, but
I heard like
didn't
some shit, I think. But,
That really pissed me off.
Okay.
It fucking pissed me off.
Really?
Yeah. Because I know where this is going with this. I don't give a shit what Marvel. You know when those rumors started flying that, ooh, could Zendaya possibly be the new Mary Jane?
Pete, that's just people blowing it out of proportion.
I don't give a shit what anyone said. That's what they wanted to do. Marvel wanted to do that, and they backtracked when they got so much fan backlash saying, don't you do that to us, and it was well-deserved fan backlash, and I'm going to tell you why. Because Peter is not the only one who fell for Mary Jane Watson. There have been generations of people who have fallen in love with her, who have either read the comics or fell in love with the Spitfire redhead that Caleb did on the 90s animated show, or Kirsten's girl next door from the Sam Raimi films, or like what I did in the Spectacular Spider-Man TV show. There have been pink boys all around the world for decades who fallen in love with this character, and we got pissed off when they could be ruining the girl that we all fell in love with. And no, you do not do that to us. And here's what pissed me off even more is that they took away what could have been a great relationship between Peter and Liz Allen. I'm sorry, this whole thing, all I've been seeing is that, oh no, this is a thinly disguised MJ. I don't give a shit what her name is, Michelle Jones or Michelle Johnson or whatever the fuck her name is. I don't care. It is a thinly disguised MJ, and it's pissing me off. All I can see is Marvel and Sony want to say, oh, look at us. We're so modern. We're so progressive. We have a black MJ for little girls and minorities to look up to. You didn't need to do that. Liz Allen was a great freaking character. You want to do something modern and progressive? Keep Liz around. Have them grow up. Have them go to college together. Have them fall in love. Have her put a ring on her finger. Leave MJ out. Leave Gwen Stacy out. Have Peter and Liz get married. That's modern. That's progressive. And no one is going to complain about it other than the goddamn KKK. And who gives a shit what those fucks think? Nobody.
Okay, Paul.
Liz is white in the comics also.
Paul, just tell us how you.
I mean, it was like one line. It's not
okay,
that.
Paul, just tell us how you really feel. Okay, Liz.
Paul, you know that Liz is also white, so I mean.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I don't think anyone's saying, "Oh, Mary Jane's good because she's black." Like what?
The minor character, so no one cares. Besides, when I saw her in Spectacular Spider-Man, she was more black or Latino than white.
I guess that's the point I'm making. You're saying that they didn't need to make MJ black, but then you're also praising Liz Allen, who's also been given a race lift. So I mean,
D-list character as opposed to A-list character. Nick Fury was white in the comics, and Sam Jackson came around. I don't care about that D-list character. You can do whatever you want with it, but not an A-lister that is so iconic to fans around the world.
Well,
because Johnny Storm is not an A-list character either, right?
No, Johnny Storm was, and I still haven't seen Fan 4 stick, and I have no intention of seeing it.
But there was no problem. I mean, it was still the same character. It just he was black instead of white.
Yeah, I don't like.
And I had a problem with that. You do not change not only are you messing him up, but you're also messing up his relationship with Sue Storm. For 50 years, they have been biological siblings. Now you can't do that. So what are they? Step siblings? Are they adopted? Who cares? I don't. You messed it up.
Hey, Paul,
you, Fox.
That was a dumb movie to begin with, though. So I mean,
do you have Spider-Man comics?
I don't.
You can open those and look and see a white Mary Jane. it doesn't have to be the same thing on a movie because you still have the comics.
And hey, Spider-Man 3 ruined MJ anyway, so I mean, they don't go it up.
That is a Easter egg. She's not the real MJ.
Yeah. Do you know what the core? Do you know what the core? Main thing that everybody knows about Mary Jane, she is Peter Parker's greatest love. No, she's Peter Parker's greatest love. That is it. Doesn't matter if she's redhead, if she's a blonde, if she's white, if she's black, if she's Hispanic. She's Peter Parker's greatest love. Doesn't matter anything else. If they take Zendaya and make her actual Mary Jane Watson, that's still Mary Jane Watson.
No, it ain't.
It's Peter Parker's greatest love.
No, it ain't. Spitfire redhead. That's what I want to see. That girl next door. That image I have that everyone fell in love with. That's what should be seen. Nothing else. Anything else, you're pissing on us.
So were you pissed at the Power Rangers movie when they decided to make treating Hispanic instead of Asian, and they made Zach
because
Zach was Asian instead of black? You know, they made Billy black instead of white.
That's Spider-Man is. Besides, I almost said the Hispanic because
it's the same thing. It's the same thing, Paul.
No, it ain't.
Yeah, it is.
No, I don't give a shit.
We're gonna be here all night if you guys keep.
So, Chris, close it up.
I was going to let you close it up.
Nope, you close it.
Okay. That was our show, ladies and gentlemen. It was a very interesting and very fascinating discussion on this movie and the things that happened and the schedule situations in it. You know, I mean, what they did with this movie and whatnot. Yeah, very, 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 very wonderful discussion. You know, fascinating, covering several topics connected to the movie, regarding the movie and connecting to it whatsoever. So, interesting opinions all around. You know, especially from our friend Paul. Yeah, some interesting takes on it. Yeah, but we all know this is a really good episode. It was great discussing this wonderful, wonderful movie. Spider-Man is back in the MCU, and we couldn't even be more happy to have him back. This is a true homecoming for the character. I'd like to thank the people discussing this movie with me. Paul, my friend, as always, it's a pleasure doing this show with you.
Thank God Marvel didn't let Sony fuck this up.
I think we can all sing the praises of Marvel to let Sony be on the sidelines. Yes. I echo those sentiments, my friends. All right, Mike, my friend, as always, it's a pleasure having you on the show.
Great to be back.
All right, Colton, my friend, it's great having you.
It was good being here. I enjoyed this show. I think it might help me out with writing my own review of it.
Okay. Short to the point, I suppose.
Right. Where every movie is in 5 minutes or less, or you know the rest.
Yeah, all right. We'll be sure to look out for that. And Avi, it's great having you on the show. Great having you back.
Yeah. Thanks for letting me share my thoughts, even if it wasn't as. I still liked it, even if it wasn't as high as everyone else.
Hey, we're allowed to have different opinions on different
It's not really different opinions. We all liked it. It would have been better if I did.
It's on different levels, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
Yeah. And also make sure to check out the next episode, which is the 111th episode of the show, where we talk about the first Transformers and why it seems to be better in quality than the other Transformers movies.
Or at least tolerable.
At least tolerable. I guess that'll be our next show. And so make sure you check out for that next Monday. Like I said, it's a great stuff in discussing this movie. Great. It's like I said, Spider-Man is back, ladies and gentlemen. We finally have the Spider-Man we've been looking for, and my God, he's better. He's back, and he's better than ever. Thank you so much for joining us. My name is Cian Miller. Until next time, goodbye.